to Shift, everybody. We are so glad that you guys are back here in person, for those of you that are. And we hope that your break was everything that you hoped it would be. If this is your first time here, you can scan this QR code or the one back at the welcome table. And if you fill out the Connect card, we'll send you some free Opus coffee. And don't forget to check out the Coffee with Joe section, because now you can enjoy that coffee with Joe himself and ask all the questions that you need about who we are or why we do what we do. This month is our final series of the year, and we've got some special stuff planned. Our very own Jen Salmon will be guest speaking on the 10th. Each Sunday, the band will play a special Christmas encore, and we'll be having a traditional Christmas Eve service the morning of the 24th. We'll also be having our Ugly Christmas Sweater Shirt Day, so come wearing your ugliest and take a beautiful picture in front of our Shift backdrop. The last Sunday will be our annual Sabbath Sunday, so no teaching, no service, just rest. And that's all that I have for you guys today, so let's jump into week 1 of our new series, Holy Moments.
I'm really excited about the season. I absolutely adore Christmas. I love Christmas, all the traditions, and I love all of the things that go along with it. I love the gift giving and the magic. I was one of the people that loved the Elf on the Shelf. I loved figuring out crazy places to hide that sucker. I don't think we ever forgot. Maybe we did. I'm sure we did. Okay. We're not that perfect. We're really close, though. I love Santa and the elves, gift givings, Frosty the Snowman, the TV specials that come out this time of year, especially the older ones. I love all of it. One year when our kids were little, we made sure that they saw that Santa left footprints from the fireplace to the tree to the milk and cookies back to the fireplace. And I don't remember what gifts they got that year, but I remember the looks on their faces. We love
putting together toys and stuff.
Please don't interrupt.
I hope that's in there.
It is not in there because I'm talking about things that I love. I hate putting together the Christmas gifts. One year she got like this stupid big old Barbie or I don't know, or Dora something.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I did not sound like Santa putting that together. But I love driving around. We love driving around and putting on the Christmas music and looking at all of the Christmas lights. However, you will not see, if you drive by my house, you will not see Christmas lights up because the city and GRU have turned me into a Scrooge. They get a bah humbug and a lump of coal. But I'll go look at other people's lights. When we lived in Missouri, we would pile into the van and we would crank on the heater, turn on Christmas music. We would drive to Starbucks and we would get hot chocolate, and then we would go drive and look at all of the lights. And our city had this drive-through in one of the big parks that we had, and you could literally drive your car through the park, and it was just like you were surrounded by, man, it must have been like a million lights, you know what I mean? And the kids, they were younger, and there were so many lights, like you could just see the reflection in their eyes, right? And their mouths just like wide open as they stared at all the lights. I loved gift giving. I love finding the perfect gift and then watching that person open it. Now, my wife is the hardest person in the world to shop for. I don't know why that is. It just is. She's so hard to shop for. Every year. Oh, no. You have been better about it lately, but no, before, no. No, that's not it. Because I listen all year long. And I have notes. I have notes in my phone. Anyway, but one year, a few years ago, I actually nailed it. I won the Super Bowl that year. I had seen on Instagram that Garth Brooks was restarting his stadium tour a few years ago, and that he was going to be in Orlando. And I thought, oh, that's it. So I marked in my calendar. I set, like you can set a reminder for when the day, like I had one the week before, the day before, right? So that morning I made sure that I got up nice and early, made sure my Ticketmaster app was ready and that I was logged in and all the stuff, and I got in the queue, and then I waited. And then I waited some more. And then I waited more, right? And it finally kicked on, and I got in, and it was like my turn, and I was so excited. I got in there, and I found tickets, and then they got sold out from underneath me, and then I found more tickets, and they got sold out from underneath me. And just as I was starting to panic, a light from the heavens shone through the darkness and landed upon my computer, and it was a Christmas miracle. Oh, and I was able to buy tickets, and in a good section with nary a problem. So then I printed off these fake tickets and I put them in a box, and I put a bunch of stuff in the box so that it would feel like it was, super heavy, wrapped it all up, put it under the Christmas tree, and then I had to wait some more. And it was like being a little kid all over again, waiting for, Santa to show up, and it was just like all this anticipation. So I kept dropping hints, but like not really specific ones, just kind of vague ones, right? And so the morning of Christmas showed up, and I couldn't wait for her to open it. And so she unraveled this box, and I videotaped it in all of her glory. So I've got it for you guys here. Right? I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. If I showed that, I really did video it, but if I showed that, number one, it's easily the end of my marriage. Number two, you probably will never see me again. But she did open it, and I did, record it. And so she read it. She was like confused at first. And then she was like, wait, are we going to go see Garth? And I said, yes. And then she started laughing and crying and all this stuff, because it was like going to see Garth was a bucket list item for her. And so that year I nailed it. I absolutely nailed it. It will never happen again. And sorry, sweetie, that was it. That was it. Yes. Welcome everybody to Shift. If you're here in person or you're on the stream or the TikTok Live, we're glad that you're here. Today we're starting a new series that we've called Holy Moments. And so over the next few weeks, we're going to look at these sacred moments that take place within the Christmas narratives. Next week, Jen will be talking about Mary. The week after, we'll be looking at Joseph. On the morning of Christmas Eve, we'll be looking at the shepherds and the Magi. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of pull back, and we're going to look at the birth narratives from a 10,000-foot view. And we're going to be talking about a tale of two kingdoms that's being told. Now, all that stuff that I mentioned before I love it, absolutely adore all of it, right? And yet, for me, there is like this added layer of beauty to the season, right? For me, this season is also about the heralding of a new kingdom, a new gospel for all of humanity, not just those that already have a seat at the table, but for every single person. Growing up, I was taught that the Bible spoke with one voice. I was taught that in Bible college, and I even taught that as a younger pastor. The reality is that that's not true. The Bible doesn't speak with one voice on any topic. Pick a subject, and you will find multiple thoughts and multiple opinions on that topic. And we try to reconcile those differences, but they are still just differences, right? What you will see, though, are these larger themes throughout Scripture. You will see these larger themes woven throughout stories and through time. And one of those major themes is empire versus kingdom. So empire rules through might and war, right? Humans are cogs in a machine, and we are thrown at that machine as sacrifices. The most important thing in empire is empire itself. And we see this played out in our world still this day. You feel empire when you have to make the choice of going to work sick or losing your job. You feel empire when you have to make the choice of paying your bills or buying food or medicine. We feel the consequences of empire when we give the machine of war $1 billion a day to the Pentagon. But our schools go unfunded, children go to bed hungry, and the majority of Americans today live paycheck to paycheck. Nothing is too important to sacrifice at the altar of empire. Kingdom, on the other hand, elevates the human experience. It honors the Imago Dei in each person. Kingdom is Eden restored, heaven on earth, not forcibly created, as some try to do. That's just empire and Bible drag. Kingdom is created when people, thank you. Kingdom is created when people willfully partner with the divine to create those thin places, places where heaven crashes into earth, places where the divine breaks through, places where humans experience flourishing. Empire will always war with kingdom because empire is greedy. It wants to consume more and more at the expense of others, and kingdom wants to serve others. They can never coexist because they are oil and water. This is the backdrop for the birth narratives found in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. They each tell the story differently. And notice that they cannot be, understand this, they cannot be 100% factually or historically accurate. They can't. And I have zero issue with that because they are not trying to give a historical count. That's what we try to do. They are giving us a theological account. Both tell the story differently and arrange it differently for different reasons, and both authors are trying to tell us different things about this Prince of Peace. In Matthew's Gospel, in chapter 2, we're introduced to Herod the Great. Could you show that verse? It's verse 1. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi came from the east to Jerusalem. Now, King Herod may have been the wealthiest human to ever live. It's said that his wealth was so vast that Bill Gates or Elon Musk would be his lawnmower. For him, money was no object. Like he could do what he wanted, whenever he wanted. In fact, he was so wealthy and so over the top that when he wanted to build an extravagant palace, one of 3 extravagant palaces in Bethlehem, no less, on top of a mountain, he had to build the mountain first and then build the palace on top of it. Can you go ahead and show that? This is the excavation site. This is the ruins of the Herodium. This is the palace in Bethlehem, and you can see the mountain and the structure there on top, the remains of the structure. Herod wanted to be known as the greatest man to ever live. And all that he did, all that he built, was to prove that claim. And yet, his ego was so fragile that it was threatened by the birth of a child. And this is the subversive nature of God in this story, that in the shadow of a mountain built by the greatest man to ever live, the king of the universe, wrapped themselves in human flesh and was born to an unwed couple amongst animals. There are 2 kingdoms being put on display here. And to quote author and teacher Marty Solomon, he says, "One king is the richest man to ever live. He constructs incredible buildings that stagger the mind and accomplishes incredible feats of human engineering. His ingenuity and wealth are second to none. He builds mountains where there aren't any, pipes in water to places that could never previously reach, and corners the market on beauty and innovation. He is the most powerful human being the world has ever seen. His life is decorated with silver, gold, and the richest of fare. The other king is born to a poverty-stricken, rejected family from the rural town of Nazareth. He is born in sheep crap, surrounded by the ash of shepherd's fire and the feces of cattle. His birth is announced to the marginalized of society, and his advent is celebrated by shepherds. One king is the leader of empire, the other is the king of peace." In Luke's gospel, we see the same narrative, but we see the comparison differently because Luke chooses a different king. He chooses a king that wants to be a son of God. In Luke's gospel in chapter 2, starting with verse 2, we see this. At the time the Roman Emperor Augustus decreed there is no way that Jesus was born during that time period. They're irreconcilable, all right, historically. So that can't be accurate, all right? I have read and seen some biblical literalists do like crazy mental gymnastics to try to make that work. It just cannot. We also have zero record of an actual census like this decreed by Augustus. We have all kinds of paperwork and things talking about Caesar Augustus. No record anywhere of this. Not only that, but historically speaking, Romans took all kinds of censuses all the time. They never once had people go to the ancestral home to do so, all right? Not only does it not make feasible sense, it would also crash the economy if you have half of your empire just up and relocate for like 2 weeks with nothing going on, all right? So it doesn't really make sense. So this might be a marginal addition later, added later, for that somebody's trying to make sense of the story. Luke could be making a remark to something that we're missing context for, or honestly, we may not have all the pieces of history yet. But in any case, it's important to note that something is taking place here, right? Now, Caesar Augustus considered himself God incarnate. He believed that he was God incarnate, and here's why. Shortly after his father died, Julius Caesar, was assassinated, an astronomical event occurred that allowed Caesar Augustus to take possession of the throne.